So yeah, so my net worth has just passed $100,000, and I don't know, very excited and happy. Um, Obviously, I know when I read in blind, people my age are making, they have like, I don't know, 500,000, 1 million net worth. So I guess it's nothing compared to that. But obviously, comparison is a thief of joy. And I'm just kind of trying to be better than my previous version, my past self. They say that the first $100,000 is the hardest to save, and I recently did it. When I graduated in 2020, I had like net worth was negative 15,000, I'd say. That was all from like student loan, not like student loan, but credit card debt. And I had used the credit card to pay for my tuition. But after I graduated, I paid that debt within 3 months by living below my means. I come from a middle class family back in Nepal, so obviously getting that first job, right out of college, I was making like $92,000. And that felt like quite a lot, because that's more money than, I don't know, I've ever seen coming in my family. It was also kind of the reason I chose tech as my career, because obviously it was not because I was like passionate or something. I just knew that I wanted to make money first, and I could like figure out what I was passionate about later. Like first of all is like survival comes first, right? Like if you don't have money to survive, and as an older daughter, older brown daughter, there's some responsibility that I have. So I always had the scarcity mindset. I have to save money, and which can be good and can be bad sometimes, because I don't like to spend money on myself at all. I spend without thinking for other people, but when it comes to me, I really struggle spending money. And that's something I've been trying to be better at, because obviously what's the point of making money if you're not spending on yourself, right? And here are some of the advice I would like to give for like how I reached my goal of $100,000. So let's kind of get started. I guess the first one is living below my means. Literally, I said this probably 10,000 times in this video already. I like to live as a student. I do not have luxury apartment, even though I can afford it. I don't think it like reasonable. So I actually quite like do these Instagram polls quite a lot. I ask like what percent of your salary is going towards your rent, and a lot of people had put like plus 40%, like 40% plus, or like 30% plus, and there's only a few people who was like under 10%. A lot of the people are spending more than 40% of their net pay in rent, which I think because that's basically a fixed expense, and there's nothing we can do about it. So there's no way to save money on that one. So like, I don't know, maybe like moving a little bit far from the city, or living with roommates. I currently pay like less than 10% of my net income in my rent. I see in like TikTok and Instagram like people living in high-rise building, and I'm like, I want to live that life. But then I'd like take some time to think about it, and I'm like, do I really want to spend like $4,000 on a studio apartment in downtown Boston? Am I going to use the amenities even? Probably not, because I'm lazy. There's always like a trade-off. Yeah, like I would love to live in that city, but then am I willing to pay that much? Thank you. I would rather save that money and travel somewhere, book a business class ticket, instead of spending that 4,000 fixed on the one bedroom luxury apartment. That also brings me to another point, which is like, I don't have a car. I live in a very walkable city. America is very like a car-centric country. Without car, you cannot do anything. So if you live in certain cities like Boston, New York, San Francisco, maybe, I don't know, they say that the train system is not quite good, or like Chicago even, there is like good chances that you can live without a car, and then that kind of saves you a lot of money, and also a lot of like maintenance and whatever you have to deal with, like all the bills that you have to deal with that comes with a car, right? Like parking, or even insurance. I actually like walking a lot. Back in my home in Nepal, it's like a very walkable place, right? Buying the groceries or going to school, we used to just walk. So I love walking. I also take it as a form of meditation. I exercise. Like I put on some podcasts, and I'm just like walking and just chilling, living my life, vibing. Now, I mean, if let's say I get a really good job somewhere in Kansas, Minnesota, let's say, or even like Texas, I would have to buy a car. I would have no option. But until then, like as long as I have this privilege or luxury of living in a walkable city, I am happy that I don't own a car. That saves me a lot of. I also don't like driving, honestly. It stresses me out, so it's working fine for me. The third thing is like I don't spend too much money on makeup or clothing, expensive clothing. Now, obviously, I do splurge on some Lululemon once in a while. You know, people like do some crazy skincare routine where they put like 10,000 products before they go to bed and 10,000 products after they wake up. I honestly don't have energy to do that, and I know my skin is not perfect and there's like acne marks and stuff like that, but I don't honestly care. Like, I just wear sunscreen and yeah, whatever. You know, like, I think as long as I'm like drinking a lot of water and eating healthy food. Sometimes I do feel like I have to cut down on some caffeinated stuff or sugary stuff, as that's kind of like bad for the skin. But other than that, I don't tend to spend heavily on skincare or this like expensive clothing, you know, piece of clothing that I'm just gonna wear once. I do thrift shop a lot. And the next thing I tend to do is I don't eat out a lot. When I was in Nepal, we never went to eat out. My family never. It's just not quite a thing. Eating out a lot. Like, I like checking out new restaurants and stuff. That's like a hobby of mine, especially cafes. Like, I love trying out new cafes, but like, I don't drink, so probably that's also the reason. Like, I don't feel like going to a nice restaurant or something like that. I mean, occasionally, sure, when it's my birthday or when it's like a big reason to celebrate. Like, I just recently reached 20,000 on Instagram, so I celebrated with like good South Indian food at one of the really nice restaurants that I like. But other than that, I don't like usually eat out. Just like eat at home, and it's much healthier and much nutritious. And a lot of the time, the store bought the things that we get at the restaurant, they're kind of stale, refrigerated and whatnot, right? And I think like I can make better quality food at home, so that's another thing. I'm currently filming with my iPhone 12, but I don't feel the urge to like buy iPhone 15 Pro Max just because it got released or something. I'm gonna wait for 4 or 5 years until this phone literally dies. So I don't really feel the need to keep myself up to date with the latest iPhone. There's much not difference anyway, right? I also don't do like luxury shopping and stuff. I know a lot of my friends, they just like go and buy Gucci bag and YSL, and I'm not blaming them. Like, it's if they enjoy that, sure, go for it. It's your life. I'm not judging, but for me personally, I feel like there's a need to show off my stuff to anybody. Like if my friends treat me differently because I don't own a Gucci bag, then I don't want those kind of friends. But fortunately, I like my friends are super nice and they don't judge me on that. We're all trying to be happy at the end of the day, so whatever works, right? I would rather invest in something that would like sustain me for a long period of time. There has been times where I like purchase like, let's say, $250 worth of a bag, but I have not spent more than that on a bag or anything like that. As an international student, let's say, we don't really know about these like retirement funds, and like, do we even want to put the money in the retirement fund, because are we even retiring here, and all kind of things like Roth IRA. I did not know anything about that, and honestly, for the first 1.5 year, I was not putting money in my 401k, which meant that I was losing on free money because my employer was kind of matching 4%, right? So I was missing on that 4% that could have gone to my account. So I regret that deeply, and I feel like a lot of international students don't have knowledge on that one. So I wish every time I meet my friends, I'm always like, yeah, just like put the money on 401k, especially whatever your employer is contributing, right? Because it's basically free money. And also like invest in, like, put money on Roth IRA, put money in your HSA account, which is like the health savings account. You never know, you might need that money because we never know what's going to happen to us next. It's always good to have the money for the health services, especially considering how expensive it is and healthcare is in America. Even if you have insurance, there'll be like a ton of other loophole that they will find to increase the bill amount. I feel like there was this one time I had to go to ER, and I know like I had to pay $800, and I was just there for like an hour. So yeah, that's why I try to stay healthy. That's why it's very important, I think, to stay healthy in America. Eat good food, don't eat out a lot, make your healthy, nutritious food, and all that. And yeah, I just wanted to share this. And my dad says that, don't share this info on internet and whatnot, but I just wanted to like share that, it's possible. Like, I came from a middle class family, following me along this journey, from being in debt, from being in poverty, let's say, to saving my first $100,000. Like, it's been a big journey, and I have always prioritized my family. I cleared my parents' mortgage, and I always make sure that I provide for my family whenever they need me. and I take expensive trips for myself. I think that's the way I kind of like, it's kind of, treating myself. The only way I like to treat myself is by uh, getting those flight tickets, or I never compromise on traveling. But there are other avenues in my life that I compromise on. One of the creator that I really like follow and listen to is Ramit Sethi, and he says that your rich life, like you define your rich life, right? Some people, for them, the rich life is buying a Gucci bag. For some people, it's living in a lavish apartment. For me, it's traveling and having a lot of like a few money around, just in case something happens, and like just having that peace of mind that even if something goes wrong, I have that emergency fund for 2 years. So you define your rich life, and yeah, like do what you want, but also like be financially responsible, and just think about yourself first. Like, yeah, be in a situation where you don't have to rely on anybody, and you're safe even if you lose your job, or even if things go worse. But thanks for watching. I love you. Bye.